Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of Data Analytics in Sports. Yes, I'm still doing this, and yes, one day, hopefully, who knows, maybe I could get more consistent in my uploads. Is it likely? No, but is it possible? Probably not, because I'm going to start my master's degree pretty soon, and that's not going to be fun, so I'm going to do this like once a month. But anywho, if you know me, if you know the show, I don't do introductions, I just jump right in because Lord knows I waste enough time on this earth anyway on TikTok, so I'm just going to jump right in. Why waste any of your time, you know? So I got to thinking. Starting the NBA pretty soon next season. You know, it's coming up. It's right around the corner. I think like October we start, something crazy like that. It's crazy how quickly this league just starts up again. And I got to thinking, okay? Injuries defined so much of last season. Clay, Kawhi, LeBron, AD, Giannis got super injured. The Nets, just everyone on the Nets. And in the NBA, where it's so fast-paced and there's 82 games, you know, it's not like baseball where, you know, it's stand around, sprint, stand around. In the NBA, it's just constant movement, not just vertical, but lateral, you know, jumping. And so injuries defined last season so much, and I got to thinking about a big injury, and I genuinely believe we are in the midst of a massive domino effect. And I think all of this started with Aaron Baines taking a weak side charge against Stephen Curry on some random game against Phoenix. Because what that did was it caused the Warriors to then have to tank, or not have to tank, but they wanted to tank because obviously Steph Curry was injured. And so then they went on this big losing streak to attempt to get like a top 3 pick. And then, oh my God, they got a top 3 pick. So you got Aaron Baines hurting Steph Curry. That drives up D'Angelo Russell's value. You trade him away to the Wolves, you know, and that happens. And it leads to a tanking Warriors team, which leads to a top 3 pick. The second overall pick, it was the Timberwolves get Anthony Edwards, the Warriors get James Wiseman, and then the Hornets get LaMelo Ball, and then my Bulls get the next Kawhi Leonard and Patrick Williams. But you know, I'm pretty content about that. But I think that caused a domino effect that gave the Warriors a chance. You know, it's like the timeline in Infinity War where you can go down the good timeline and the bad timeline, like when when Hulk's doing the thing with the time stone with the bald lady. And looking back on that, the Warriors, I think, made, and I thought this at the time, but I wasn't positive, that they made the biggest draft day mistake you could have made when they drafted James Wiseman over LaMelo Ball. Now, hear me out. Okay, I know. Believe you me. I know how overhyped LaMelo Ball is by ESPN, Bleacher Report. Like, this man cannot dribble between his legs and make a layup without ESPN doing a 30 for 30 on it. Okay, believe me, I know. I get that. It's infuriating. I already wrote an article on my blog all about how much I hate the national media and how little it relies on numbers, and it's just talking points. And media has slowly shifted to how can we get people to go to our social media because no one has the attention span anymore to actually listen to shit. So how can we get people to our social media? And the answer is by saying something incredibly stupid and not backed by any sort of facts, logic, or science, much less common sense, you know? And so I get all that. But watching LaMelo Ball last season, you gotta admit, he's got superstar potential. Okay, so I'll just read out the stats. So James Wiseman averaged 11.5, 5.8, so basically 6, and 0.7 assists on 52, 31, 62 shooting splits at 21 minutes a game, 21 and a half minutes a game. LaMelo Ball gave you 15 and a half, 6 and 6 on 44, 35, 76 at around 28, 29 minutes a game. So not like LaMelo Ball is out here putting the league on notice as one of the top 10 players, but for a rookie, 15, 6, and 6 on pretty good. And okay, here's what stood out to me: 75% from the free throw line. How many rookies have we seen come into this league where all we're saying to ourselves is, oh, if he just gets a jump shot and he shoots 55% from the line, 75% from 3 out of 4, I'll take it. If he never improves his free throw shooting, that's very good. He's already got incredible playmaking ability. He can shoot. He can get his own shot. He has the perfect team around him with PJ Washington, who can shoot lights out. Miles Bridges, just like the ultimate athlete who could also defend and shoot. Gordon Hayward, just like an all-around small forward. They get the center position locked up, and they drafted another like bouncy athletic guard. I forget his name, and I forget where they drafted him from. Hell, I don't even remember what pick. But this team has a lot of potential. I think they're a playoff team heading into next year, unless, of course, the Raptors turn it around, which is also possible. But we'll see. I'll do predictions on that later. But I think if you were to put a gun to my head and you say, Andrew, which one of these players is going to be the next thing? Statistically speaking, every single draft does not get a player. You know, it does not get the guy. But it occurs more often than you would think. You know, like there's not a lot of players in the NBA, and especially now, there's not a lot of players retiring. Like they're sticking around. Hell, even Blake Griffin, DeMar DeRozan, like guys who I thought were on their last legs, are getting more. They're getting long contracts, especially DeMar DeRozan. Like they're getting these good contracts for them. So why on earth would they leave? But you know, if you asked me, like, hey, which one of these players has the highest potential? I would say LaMelo Ball, and I would raise you this. I'm going through, and does LaMelo Ball is he the 6th best young asset? I say young, I really just mean like below 25. So actually, is he the 5th? Because that removes Giannis, because Giannis is 26, 27. I got Luka, I got Zion, I got Tatum, I got Young. I had Giannis number 2 or number 1, but he's too old, so I got not even Giannis. Is he one of the 5 best young assets we currently have in the game right now? And it brings me back to this. If I were the Warriors, okay, you have a 31-year-old Klay Thompson who tore his ACL and then his Achilles in the same knee, and you're relying on that guy to be your second option on a championship team. He has not played basketball in what seems like a decade. And he's 31, going to be 32 in February, and you're asking him to be the second guy on a championship team coming off of a reconstructed knee that had to get reconstructed a second time. When you could have one of the biggest rookie phenoms we currently have in the league. And you know, I was listening to Nick Wright, and say what you will about Nick Wright, when discussing potential Warriors trades to get Ben Simmons, he brought up a very good point. You have no idea what Klay Thompson is going to look like. You have no idea what he's going to look like. And LaMelo Ball is the best insurance policy you could have possibly done. Because when you trade D'Angelo Russell, a very capable point guard / shooting guard, very capable 24-4 potentially, you know, very good. And you trade him away for a wing and a pick. You think you would use that pick? Klay Thompson's done so much for the organization, okay? You've given him hundreds of millions of dollars. I would call that about even. Okay? I love NBA players. I always root for them over the organization. But if I'm being realistic, and if you're not a superstar caliber player and you're in your 30s and you just suffered 2 knee injuries in the same knee, I'm drafting insurance. The Warriors are never going to have this high of a pick again while Steph Curry's on the roster. They will never get another top 3 pick. It's not going to happen. They're probably not going to get one. Okay, listen, Cavs have not gotten a top. They stink. They stink. Them and the Kings, they stink. They don't get top 3 picks very often. Okay? They do not get top 3 picks very often. Look at my Chicago Bulls. We sucked for like 5 years. Did not get a never got a top 3 pick. Never got a top 3 pick. We got 7, 7, 7, and 4. Okay? If you get in the top 3, that is not easy to do. And if you have a superstar in Steph Curry and then you get a top 3 pick, I demand from that organization that you take that top 3 pick, and here's what you do, the number 2 overall pick, the top 3 pick. If you get a top 2 pick with a 2-time MVP in his prime on your roster, you know what I damn well expect? I expect a David Robinson, Tim Duncan kind of shit, okay? You need to get a superstar, or you take that fucking pick and you trade it for the world, okay? There's a lot of unhappy superstars out here. If you are gonna look me in the eye and tell me that Klay Thompson is gonna come back as a 31-year-old on a doubly reconstructed knee and be just as good as he was beforehand, it still doesn't make any sense to draft a raw prospect at center who needs years of development. He did not play in college, okay? He played like a game at Memphis and then dropped out, okay? He was easily the rawest prospect on the board, and that's who you go with, outside of maybe Patrick Williams is the most raw. But even Patrick Williams is already showing signs of an incredible two-way player. That was such a ridiculously bad mistake made by the Warriors organization because it did not make sense in any facet, okay? If you draft LaMelo Ball, that tells me that you don't have confidence that a 31-year-old Klay Thompson is going to come back healthy. If you don't draft LaMelo Ball, okay, trade the pick. Trade the pick. Because if you don't draft LaMelo Ball, if you don't draft Klay Thompson insurance, what you're telling me is he's going to come back and be great. And by drafting a prospect who's not going to be good for 3 years, what you're telling me is you have no idea what you're doing. And if I'm Steph Curry, I'm pissed, okay? Because you didn't really do a whole lot to help him. Kelly Oubre, gone, okay? Draymond Green, another year older. Steph Curry, another year older, all right? Andrew Wiggins, fine player. But I'm sorry, is a Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, James Wiseman supposed to scare me? Jonathan Kuminga, great pick. Great pick. But you know who'd look really good on this roster? If you had the number 2 overall. You know what you can get for the number 2 overall pick? You can get a lot. Okay, you can get it because if you don't draft insurance for Klay Thompson at the number 2 overall pick, you're telling me he's coming back and he is going to be phenomenal and just as fine, in which case trade the pick for a player that can help you now, okay? I gotta be honest, I don't give a damn about Klay Thompson. I don't give a damn about Draymond Green if I'm the Warriors. All I care about is winning Steph another ring. That's the goal. From now till the end of time, the goal is to win Steph another ring. And what you just did, Warriors, is make it more difficult to do that. So utter failure by the Warriors. Utter failure. Okay? Like, draft Ball. And even if Klay is super healthy, he's a top 5 young asset. You can get the world for him. You hit up the Raptors, or the Raptors for Pascal Siakam, or the Sixers for Ben Simmons, or you keep him and you have the best 6-man ever in the history of the world. Or Klay comes off the bench until he's fully healthy. Sorry, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, but not drafting LaMelo Ball, I think, well, it all started with, again, it's a huge domino effect. And I think it's going to end with a very ugly breakup between Steph Curry and the Warriors, assuming they don't do the right thing. If they can get like a Ben Simmons, hey, props. You know? If they somehow swindle a team, if they can somehow get like a Bradley Beal, all right, I'll eat my words. You know? Screw me. Whatever. Touche, Warriors, you win this time. But if you don't, okay, you're screwed. you're screwed. You will have pissed off the best player to ever represent. I guess will play for them, but you know what I mean. Like the most iconic player in franchise history, you will have pissed off. Okay, that is not what you want to do. All right, you don't. If I was a minority owner of Dallas, I would literally do whatever I could to keep Dirk happy before he retired. Okay, if you're this Warriors team, you got to get nervous. You got to be nervous. Okay, this league changes fast. All right, it gets competitive out of nowhere. It's not like the NFL that it could like change drastically, because obviously we know who's going to win, but not know who's going to win, but we know who's going to be good. But there's always surprises. Look at the Suns. Look at the Blazers when they made the Western Conference Finals. Look at the Nuggets coming back from 3-1 against the Clippers. Like, shit happens, you know? And I feel like now the Warriors are kind of relying on that. And that's no way to run a franchise. That's no way to run a franchise. But moving on. NFL preseason happened. And it was interesting. It was fascinating. I found it thoroughly enjoyable. And I think I might eat my words. It's entirely possible. It's unlikely, but it's possible. All 5 quarterbacks are good. All right, let's be honest here. It's entirely possible. All 5 quarterbacks are good. And it's also possible that Trevor Lawrence might not even be. Oh, okay. Here's an idea for your future video that I'm going to do. It's odd how in sports, it's the number 1 overall pick. I want to run the numbers on this. How, like between the NFL and the NBA and all other major sporting leagues, how many number 1 overall picks end up being the best player? Because I've noticed a trend pretty recently. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson better than Baker Mayfield. I guess Kyler Murray is probably the best, but Chase Young, better than Joe Burrow, I would say. Justin Herbert as well. Is it possible Trevor Lawrence just is not the generational talent we thought he was? I mean, he looked, obviously, it's preseason. Okay, let's not go crazy here. Like, we all saw what he could do at Clemson. Okay, I have not lost any confidence. My 3 are still Lawrence, Fields, and Lance. I think those are the 3 that I'm going to bet money on succeed at the highest level. But Wilson looks good. And Jones looks good too. It really just seems like the only thing limiting some of these players are the teams they play on, which I know is like, no duh, Andrew. Like, come on. That's how all of sports works, always. Like, if that's not how it worked, then, well, Aaron Rodgers would have 11 rings by now, and Aaron Donald would be able to alter games more. God, that makes me so sad that Aaron Donald might not get a ring when he retires. But I swear to God, he will. The football gods won't let that happen. But and what was that? Yeah, it is just something I found interesting. That not that, you know, the first overall pick is not like always just like the unanimous best player. Like, there was that one draft, Blake Griffin, and then went number 1 overall. And they also had James Harden, Steph Curry in the same draft, I think. Like, that's just insane. Yeah, you had Greg Oden, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook was the number 4 overall pick in the D Rose draft. But this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about football. Preseason's fun. I'm enjoying the preseason. Penei Sewell definitely needs a little more time, I think. Just going off of like rookies that have impressed me and rookies that haven't. I guess I don't really have any of it written down. That probably would have been a good thing to write down as I sat and stared at my laptop for like 10 minutes. Like, which rookies impressed me? Which rookies didn't? Justin Fields is the GOAT, I think, already. We can agree. He's already the greatest quarterback of all time. Greatest Chicago Bear. Move over Jay Cutler. I do love Jay Cutler, though. I feel like if I was an athlete that like didn't love the sport I was playing, I'd be a lot like Jay Cutler. But gosh, which other rookies stood out to me? I haven't seen much of the receivers. I haven't really taken notice of them. They haven't really. Kyle Pitts too. I don't think I watched Kyle Pitts. Who is... Oh, Patrick Surtain II from the Broncos. Oh, he's so good. Oh, there was one tweet from... I've talked about this guy before, Brett Nolman. And he was like, if you put a Kyle Fuller jersey on Patrick Surtain II, I wouldn't be able to tell you the difference. That was spot on. Oh my God, yeah, he's gonna be good. Hopefully, Drew Lock can play football. Ideally, I think that's what we're all rooting for. Gardner Minshew better get his own team. He better get traded to the Colts or something, because oh my God, he's just too good to waste away behind. I mean, assuming he's not going to be the starting quarterback. I mean, hey, who knows? NFL's crazy. If you can't play, you can't play. You get booted out. It's not like the NBA where if you're a number 1 overall pick and you're Markelle Fultz, you'll still find time on a roster. If you stink after 2 seasons, you're done. You are cut and never seen again, most likely. Unless you're like a quarterback. I guess then you get your Sam Darnolds. But what else? Oh, the taunting rule. Okay, I have obviously a strong opinion on a taunting rule. It's stupid. Get rid of it. Okay. Obviously. But someone needs to play devil's advocate, okay? And while I believe the taunting rule is stupid and counterproductive and it's professional sports, no one cares if grown men taunt each other. No, it's not how the sports world works. I will say, if it limits fights, if players don't get hurt as often... No, I can't even play devil's advocate. I'm sorry. I tried being the annoying guy in history class. This rule sucks. No, there's no way I can defend it. It's the stupidest shit I've ever seen in my life. I tried for a half second to be that, actually, that asshole that wears a bow tie in high school. Yeah, I can't do it. I tried. I really tried. Sorry, guys. I really tried to dig deep and bring out my inner Ben Shapiro. Well, hypothetically, let's say that hypothetically, gay people, if you come into contact with one, you die. Then they'd be bad, right? And we should get rid of them. So you agree that we should get rid of them. Checkmate, libtard. Sorry, I got a little political there. But also, fuck you. I can do whatever I want. What was I going to talk about? Oh, right. Okay, so I can't even defend the taunting rule, but I can discuss the AFC South with you today. I haven't done this in a hot second, but let's go over where I think teams are going to be. How good are some of these teams going to be? And more importantly, my hot takes. So, I think right off the bat, I actually had this hot take before Michael Thomas's injury, but I think if you put a gun to my head, Andrew, bet something on your mortgage, which 2 teams are going to be way worse than everyone thinks, and which team is going to be way better than everyone thinks? And I think one team that I'm very, very confident is going to be way worse than everyone thinks, or I guess 2 teams. I'll give you 2 teams. I have the Saints and I have the Steelers. I think the Saints are going to be butt. I think the Saints have potential to be a bottom 4 team in the league. Honestly. It's not going to look pretty. And I think the Steelers too. I don't have any faith in Ben Roethlisberger. And this isn't we only saw him just in the playoffs he didn't play well. He played well all regular season. True, but he's older now, and he's been declining for a while, and as good as that defense is so good. And they did make some improvements to the offensive line. I just don't try. It's a gut feel. I know, my entire thing is I'm a numbers guy. Hell, my channel is literally called Data Analytics and Sports. But for some weird reason, I just don't trust the Steelers. I don't think they're going to be the worst team in the league. Neither do I think the Saints are. I still have a team like the Bengals and I think the Eagles are going to be the worst team. Maybe the Texans. I think they have a potential to be a bottom 4, bottom 5 team. Both of them. I genuinely believe that. And I'm going to prove it by going through. I'm going to start with the Steelers because I realized I never did the NFC South yet. Or are they NFC South is that Falcons, Bucks, Saints, and one other team I'm forgetting. Panthers. But I'm going to do the AFC North real quick. AFC North Ravens, Steelers, Browns, Bengals. You know this. Come on. Use your brain. I'm going to start with the Bengals just because... And also, I didn't do my power ranking system with this one, and I don't want to redo it because I actually kind of like it. I kind of like the idea of like going through each individual like team and like actually predicting their wins and losses, but you don't want to hear about that. Enough of that. So the Bengals, I'm going to give you their record. It's 4-13. I think they're going to win 4 games. I don't trust the things that they were bad at. They didn't fix, and the things that they were already kind of good at, they decided to fix for some reason. And while it isn't a bad strategy, that isn't a good strategy. Especially not when you have to go against the Ravens, the Browns, and the Steelers 6 times total, and they all have very good defenses, especially the Ravens secondary and the Browns pass rush. Oh, forget about it. But Bengals, I have a loss to Minnesota, Chicago, Pittsburgh, a win against Jacksonville, loss at Green Bay, win against Detroit, loss to Baltimore, win against the Jets. Cleveland and the Raiders they lose to. I have them winning 1 against Pitt. I have them sneakily winning 1. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 losses in a row to the Chargers, Niners, Denver, Baltimore, Kansas City, and Cleveland. So they're 4-13. I'm not going to spend too much time on the Bengals. If you disagree with me, you're wrong. They're not going to be a good team. They're not going to compete in this division. At best, they're the 3rd best team, but even then, I don't think they're going to be worse. I don't think they're going to be better than any of these teams. Definitely not Browns or Ravens. Not even the Steelers. They're the worst team in this division. I'm not going to spend any more time on them. You got the Ravens. I have them at 11-6. They have a rough schedule. I mean, they are down bad. They are down astronomical. The Raiders they start off against, then the Chiefs, Detroit, not going to be a good team, but I think I have them winning that. They're 2-1, and then they go to Denver. Denver, I don't think they're going to be great, but I still think they're a tough team. Indiana, the Chargers, Cincinnati, they win. Minnesota, Miami, Chicago, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Green Bay, Cincinnati, Rams, and Pittsburgh. I have them going 11-6. I think that could be higher. I honestly think they could be like a 13-win team. I wouldn't be shocked if they go 13-4. Maybe even they win the AFC. I think they're definitely going to win the AFC North. It's between them and the Browns, but I definitely think they have a chance to just be the best team in the AFC. If not, then they're going to at the very least be behind potentially the Chiefs and Bills. Unless the Titans are as good as I think they will be, in which case they'll be 4th. But you didn't hear that from me. On to the Steelers. I have them at 5-12. I got to be honest. Nothing about them screams good. They have a great defense. Wow, I just contradicted myself so hard there. That is embarrassing. Let me backtrack. I think the Steelers do a couple of things great and a lot of things below average, if I'm being completely honest. They play Buffalo and the Raiders. They're 0-2 right there. They win against Cincinnati, 1-3, lose to Green Bay. They win against Denver. They're at 2-3 right now. And then they go Seattle, Cleveland, Chicago. 0-3 right there. They have a couple of tough stretches. And honestly, a lot of these games against bad teams that they win, it's still kind of 50-50. Like Detroit, the Chargers, I have them winning against the Chargers. I just threw it in there, but they could very well lose that game. Cincinnati, Baltimore, Minnesota, Tennessee, Kansas City, Cleveland, Baltimore. Like, oh my God. AFC North has a tough schedule. Except for the Browns, who don't have that bad of a schedule, I don't think. Kansas City, they lose right off the bat. They're 0-1. I don't think they're winning that. I don't think that's a hot take. But then Houston, Chicago, Minnesota. I think Chicago, Minnesota, they're going to win one, lose one. I don't know which one they win, but Chargers, they could win. Arizona, I think they lose to, but Denver, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, New England, they got a 4-0 streak right there. And then you go Baltimore, they probably lose that. Detroit, Baltimore again. I don't think they're going to get swept by Baltimore. I think they split that. Detroit, Baltimore, the Raiders again, and then Green Bay, they probably lose to, but then Pittsburgh, they might win. Cincinnati, they probably win. So I think they could win like 10 to 13 games. And I genuinely think the Browns are the most interesting team in the NFL because Baker hasn't been paid yet. How's he going to look? Odell Beckham's coming back. How's he going to look? That defense, can they improve that run defense a little bit? Nick Chubb, dark horse MVP candidate. This is the most complete team, in my opinion. The issue is, I love me some Baker. I think he is easily one of the most underrated players in this league. But the AFC is kind of loaded with young, good quarterbacks, 2 of whom are from his draft class. And I love Baker. He is not better than Lamar. He's not better than Josh Allen. Definitely not better than Patrick Mahomes. Is he even better than Ryan Tannehill? I don't know. So, I mean, this is a complete team, but, I mean, hypothetically, they're working with, like, I don't know, maybe the 5th or 6th best quarterback in the conference. I mean, you've got Lamar Jackson. Hell, is Joe Burrow already better than him? I don't know. What's Tua going to look like? Like, there's so much potential for quarterbacks to sort of leapfrog Baker Mayfield, and that really makes me nervous because as big of a fan as I am of Baker Mayfield, because I think he's really, really good and super accurate, and he's good in the pocket, and he's fast, he's elusive, he can make plays on his feet, you can stick him in the pocket, and yeah, he's short, but he's so accurate. Oh, it's so much fun to watch him throw the football. But there's so many other quarterbacks that are poised and primed to leapfrog this guy. Like, it's entirely possible. We don't even know where Deshaun Watson's going. Like, I completely forgot about it. I mean, assuming he's not like the worst human being ever to live, where's he going to go? I mean, there's just so many variables in this AFC that I just... Is Carson Wentz coming back? If Carson Wentz comes back fully healthy, is he going to be better than... Like, there's so much wiggle room for how good Baker Mayfield is. Like, I know he's so good, and he's a franchise guy. But if he's your franchise guy, how many teams do you face where he's the best quarterback on the field? How many? I don't know. And this season's going to be so interesting to figure that out. And I think... Oh, also, Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year. Come on, man. Let's get one. Come on. I was told... I mean, he's a generational talent, don't get me wrong. But I was told he was going to dominate the league defensively. And I'm still kind of waiting on that to, happen. As good as he is, and he is phenomenal, don't get me wrong. But I'm waiting for that Defensive Player of the Year, I feel like T.J. Watt surpassed him, Aaron Donald, like just overall defensive players. Obviously, he and Aaron Donald don't play the same position, but I'm waiting on him to be the best. Right now, he's one of the best. I'm waiting on him to be the best. Denzel Ward, what's he going to look like? This is an interesting team. This is probably one of the more interesting divisions. I think it's right there with the AFC South and the NFC North. Oh, sorry, the NFC West. The NFC North and... Jesus Christ, I lost the ability to speak. NFC North, NFC West. I've lost all capabilities of speaking. So I thank you so much for watching. This is an abrupt ending, but when you stutter 15 times in one sentence, it's time for you to call it quits. I'm going to retire and hopefully make another one of these videos sometime in the next month. Who knows? Anything's possible. Thank you all again so much for listening, you fellow beautiful weird number nerds. I hope you all have statistically, provably good days. Thank you again.